Hi there, it's Simon Gray from Career Codex, back with another weekly video. And today I'm talking about three things which were really inspired by a song I heard on the radio over the weekend, which was Flashdance, What a Feeling. We probably all know the song, we probably don't all know the film. Great song, not so good film. But one of the lines from this song is take your passion and make it happen. And this really hit me between the ears quite literally. And I thought about that. I thought I'd digest that into this week's content and discuss that in a little bit more detail. So I'm going to talk about three things, and as usual, I've got the trusted iPad to hand just to make sure I'm on track. I'm going to talk about, firstly, how you focus on your passion and why it's important to focus on your passion. Whatever it is you're passionate about in life, that's the thing you should really do. Second thing I want to talk about is knowledge acquisition, and I talk about the job market, how to navigate the job market successfully, which requires knowledge. But having acquired that knowledge, how do you then turn that into action? Because without action, well, nothing's going to happen. Action is needed to get to where you need to get to. And then thirdly, I'm going to talk about taking this knowledge and doing action over a continued extended period of time. And this is quite important because in the job market, particularly the executive job market, there's no quick fix. You might be in it for 3 months, 6 months, even 9 months. And that means you need to take continued action over time, which can be a challenge. We can all do something for one day, but can we do it for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, however long, until we achieve the desired results? So let's first kick off and let's talk about passion. Now, I've got 2 young children, and what's evident with how they talk and how they play, their dreams are not limited. They're passionate, they're into what they're into superheroes at the moment, and they're in the belief that they could be a superhero one day or something else. And if you remember back to childhood, we used to think like that, we all thought like that, but as we grow older, we become more realistic, and we tend to settle for less. And sometimes we can tend to settle for things that we are not really passionate about. And I'm as guilty of that, or have been as guilty of that as anybody else. And I was running a recruitment company, which I started back in 2008 with 2 colleagues. After 5 years, earning a good living, I could have sat there for another 5 years, but something was missing. And what was missing was the passion. I'd lost the passion to do it, and I wanted to do something else. And this was the catalyst to set up Career Codex. And now I'm doing something that I'm really passionate about. What better job than helping people find the success they deserve? And I know this is my passion because for the first year probably of creating this business, it was all work. There was no remuneration, there was no revenue coming from the business. It was all hard work, and to do that for a year, to create the business and get going, that told me that this was the thing I was passionate about. The clue now is that I think about this thing all the time. I'm constantly thinking about ideas, how I can improve the business, how I can get better messaging, better content out there to serve my customers. And that's a real clue that if you think about it, morning, noon and night, that's a really good clue that you're probably following your passion. And the important thing with passion for me is longevity, because we can all do something we're not passionate about for a short period of time. But then we'll get disillusioned, then we'll start to look at other things, our head will be turned by other opportunities. But if you're really passionate about something, 2 things happen. You don't get bored with it, you keep going, and you're prepared to work hard, even in the downtimes, the ups and downs. There's always ups and downs. You're prepared to work through the downtimes to get the ups and to get to the destination that you want to get to. And that's really what passion gives you. It gives you that longevity and that determination. So, I've never been happier. I really enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy creating these videos. Hopefully you do too if you're watching them. And I enjoy working with my clients on a one-to-one basis to help them get the success they deserve. That's a very fulfilling experience. It's something I didn't get when I was running my own recruitment company. But of course, in following your passion, if you're not currently following your passion, that involves a change. And sometimes that can be a venture into the unknown, a step out of the comfort zone. And sometimes those things can stop people taking the action they know they should be doing to move forward to what they really want to be doing. The other challenge, and I find this a lot with people that I work with on a one-to-one basis, they're not 100% clear on what it is they want to do. They've defined what I call a destination. This is the job opportunity they want. But when I interrogate them about this, it's not actually very clear. It's not actually very defined. And there is a temptation that flexibility will trump focus, i.e. there's a belief that the more flexible you are in terms of what you'll consider in the job market, the more chance you're going to secure an opportunity. In actual fact, that's not the case at all. The more focused you are, the more chance you are of discovering the opportunity you want, and the more chance of your message resonating with the right people to get them to make the right decision to hire you. And when I ran my recruitment company, the most difficult candidate to place was the candidate that said to me, I'll do anything. Just put me in front of the client, I'll impress them, I'll do pretty much anything. I can do pretty much anything. Now, they probably thought that they were helping me, but in actual fact, they were hindering me because I had no clear idea as to what their value proposition was. I had no clear message to deliver to my clients to represent them properly. And as a result, I hate to say that they tended to fall off my shortlist and didn't make my shortlist. So in actual fact, it's focus that trumps flexibility. So have a think about that. But to get focused, you've got to really define the opportunity that you're moving towards. And if you're watching this and not looking for a job, you may be running a business. It's the same thing. What's the primary goal of your business? What are you moving towards? You've got to know what that is, otherwise you can't move towards it. You're never going to find it, and the messaging that you put out there won't be on point with the destination that you really want to get to, because that destination isn't clear. And I'm reading a book at the moment, and a big thank you to one of my clients who recommended this to me. And it's called Strategic Learning by a guy called Willie Peterson. It's on Amazon. It's a really good book, about halfway through it. And there's a quote that I came across, which is also the inspiration for today's video and this week's content. And this quote is from, well, goodness knows, a long, long time ago. In fact, the person that said this quote was born in circa 4 BC. So there we go. And the quote is this. I'm going to read this. Our plans miscarry because they have no aim. When a man does not know what harbour he is making for, no wind is the right wind. And this is Lucius Annaeus Seneca, a Roman philosopher, as I say, who was born in circa 4 BC. And I thought, wow, isn't this amazing? He was talking about this such a long time ago, but it's the same problem today. And the reason for that is, we live in a world of abundant information now. We can find out whatever it is we want at the click of a button, but humans are still humans, people are still people. And one of the big challenges we have is getting clear on where we're going and what we really want to do in life. So that's passion, and that's focus. And of course, whatever you say yes to in life, effectively you're saying no to something else, because there's only a limited amount of time. And when it comes to successful job search, there's only a limited amount of time and energy that you can dedicate to that job search. So it's even more important to be clear so you know where to focus what is always a limited resource and will always be a limited resource, and that is your time. So let's talk about application of knowledge now. And let me ask you a question. If you've ever read a book or been on a course, you probably come away with really good intentions to actually implement some of the things you've learnt into your life to make your life better and more productive. I know I've done it many times, and then of course we get back to the everyday life, we get distracted, we forget to do it. It's always a move out the comfort zone usually, and as a result we just go back to doing what we've always done. So we can all acquire knowledge, and more so than ever before, but actually applying the knowledge is where the magic happens. And I caught a video at the weekend that Tony Robbins, the life guru, had put together. And in it, he says that knowledge is not power. We hear that all the time, knowledge is power. He says knowledge is potential power. And I think that's absolutely right, because until you turn knowledge into action, that's all it is, knowledge. There's no substance to it. So one of the things that you have to do when it comes to job search is take the knowledge about how to attack the job market in the right way, but then take consistent and diligent action. And this is one of the things I talk about through Career Codex. I've written a number of books. My book, Super Secrets of Success, if I can say it, Super Secrets of Successful Executive Job Search, is doing very well on Amazon. And I know lots of people are reading this book, but the question is how many people are actually turning that into action? And one of the challenges, of course, is unless you're very disciplined, you can get distracted. And one of the reasons that I coach clients on a one-to-one basis is because they need that accountability. They need that direction. They need me to say, yeah, you need to do this next, this next, this next, and to guide them through the job market. And sometimes accountability is one of the things we all need. And if you look at some of the, the best athletes in the world, the best at whatever they do, they tend to have a coach. That coach gives them knowledge, but that coach also makes them accountable and helps them to improve their performance over time. So let's talk a little bit about the third point now, which is also in relation to knowledge and action. And it's about applying action over a period of time. And let me tell you a quick story. If you watched my previous stuff or read any of my books, you'll know that about 7 or 8 years ago, I sold all my worldly possessions, went to Japan and signed up for this martial arts course, Aikido course with the Tokyo Riot Police. It was called the Yoshinkan Aikido Senshusei course. And basically this was 11 months of martial arts training, a boot camp, pretty intense boot camp, probably one of the toughest martial arts courses in the world, and quite internationally renowned. And when we were training over that 11-month period, quite often we'd have people visit from all over the world to come and see what we were doing. And they'd come and watch 1 class, 2 classes, and I'd always listen to what they said at the end of the class. And quite often they'd say something like, well, that's not very hard, I could do that. Or it doesn't look as tough as I thought it would be, I could do that. And they were absolutely right. I didn't tell them they were right, but they were missing the point. And the point is this: could they do it for 4 hours a day, 5 days a week for 11 months? Because it wasn't the 1 class that hurt, it was the accumulation of all of those classes over that extended period of time. And when it comes to anything we want to achieve in life, and definitely when it comes to job search, it doesn't happen overnight. You don't do something once and get the results. It's about continued and diligent action. So what that means is for successful job search, it's about having a plan. It's about focusing on the process and not just the prize of the job you want, and sticking to that plan no matter what. Having a start and finish time. You can't be in the job market 24/7. That's one of the biggest ways to get disempowered and disillusioned. It's about having a plan that you stick to and you work, and this plan has been carefully designed to deliver your destination, which ultimately is the opportunity that you want. So one final thing to say is, in this book, Strategic Learning, one of the core messages, and as I say, I'm only halfway through it at the moment, is that, okay, you've got a plan, and you're going to find as you execute that plan, you're going to get feedback from the marketplace. So when we talk about the job market, it's going to be feedback from the job market. If in business you've got a strategy, you're implementing that strategy, you're going to get feedback from your customers, suppliers, whoever else. And it's important we listen to that feedback. That's what strategic learning is all about. It's learning as we go. But what it isn't, and what it definitely isn't when it comes to the job market, is making a knee-jerk reaction. So you have a plan. Let's say you execute that plan, you do something, and you don't get a result that time. It doesn't mean the strategy doesn't work. It just means it didn't work that time, and that's an important distinction. However, if you're doing something over and over and over again, you've done it for a month, and in actual fact it's not quite working, well, that could be a clue that you need to make a change to your strategy or a change to your plan. But it's an informed decision based on evidence, as opposed to a knee-jerk reaction based on an isolated incident, and that's an important point. So started off today's video talking about Flashdance. Take your passion and make it happen. Talked about the importance of passion and focus. Talked about how you need to define your destination, which is the opportunity you're moving towards. And then talked about the knowledge in the job market. If you approach the job market and do what everyone else is doing, you're not going to get a result. Well, you might get a result, but it's left to chance. So, the stuff that I teach, Career Codex, is all about how to stand out from the crowd by doing different things and taking a different approach, which doesn't start with a CV or a resume. But it's all very well having that knowledge. It's then about applying that knowledge. And then finally, I talked about how to apply that knowledge consistently over time and why that's important in the job market. Because sometimes there are quick wins, but more often than not, particularly at the executive level, it takes a little bit of time, 3 months, 6 months, maybe longer. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you'd like to leave me a comment below, that will be great. I respond to comments personally. And if you'd like to connect to me on LinkedIn and give me some feedback there, it's Simon Gray, ACA. This is a kind of summary video of what I've put in the blog post and podcast. So if you'd like to check that out, please visit careercodex.com, and that will also give you the opportunity to sign up for my weekly newsletter to get this information direct to your inbox. So great to speak to you. Have a great rest of day, and I'll be back next week with another video.